Hello, and welcome to Parrot Gaming Productions, where my name is Jared. As always, I am your lovely and grateful host of the day. Today is actually Friday. I'm doing things a little differently here. For those of you who are watching on the YouTubes, and you can watch me right now, you can see that I am most definitely not wearing the same clothes, because yesterday I had my what's it called? I did the main interview, and with the main interview, what ended up happening was we didn't talk too much about gaming. Doesn't seem like DJ KRausz, who is my guest, who's a comedian, part of a band, who likes football a lot. Likes football a lot. Turns out that not a big gaming fan, not a big gamer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do gaming stuff here, because we are a gaming podcast first and foremost, and then we talk about whatever comes to my mind from the internets. So we're gonna touch on a couple different things here. We've got some police news. We've got some sales on some stuff. Blizzard and Madden kind of suck, as well as some other stuff. So some quick interesting news here. A former PUBG pro player, Taylor J, is dead after a police manhunt. So apparently, he only made $16,000 during his 2-year career playing for a couple different PUBG competitive teams. He actually competed in something about a year ago, and police in North Carolina think that he had an altercation with his ex-girlfriend after he shot her a couple times. And then he ended up taking his own life, from what it sounds like. They say, I love how they call it a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Yeah, he took the quick way out instead of being prosecuted for his crimes, is what it sounds like. So he fled from North Carolina to Pennsylvania after he shot her a couple times. She is in stable condition, which is good. I know that they're probably going to use this to say, oh, video games cause violence and blah, 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 blah. You ever watch those you've ever watched those really, really stupid, like, if you ever go on Reddit and you watch the, like, our trashy stuff, or I'm a total piece of shit on Reddit and stuff. Like, I always like how the videos start off, like, halfway through, like, an altercation, and you're like, where did this come from? What's the beginning story? Ooh, I wonder if you guys heard that one. There's a beautiful thunderstorm going on right now. The thunder is just like, it is angry outside. So, like, it just, like, I always wonder, like, what led up to that situation. Because, like, a lot of times I'll see these videos online where it talks about, like, the R trashy, or the R, I'm a total piece of shit, something like that, where something bad happens, and then you don't know the whole backstory, and it changes the dynamic. So, I mean, like, I don't condone violence upon anybody for any reason whatsoever, but I'm always interested in what caused the violence. You know what I mean? Like, what led up to this domestic dispute? Was there not enough peanut butter in the pantry and she got pissed off? Did their pet poodle or something like that get really angry and nip at him, and there's got to be some reason why it all transcended, and I mean, from what it sounds like, ex-girlfriend, that could be a whole lot of issues. So a very small time e-gamer took the easy way out after trying to kill his ex-girlfriend. Don't be stupid, I guess, is the thing there. It was one of the more prominent. It was one of the prominent things that I saw, and I just thought that it needed to be dispelled. That it's like, don't be a dick. Like, come on, don't be a dick. Like, video games don't make you violent. If you're a violent person, you already have violent tendencies. So Corsair, though. So some cool video gaming accessory news. Corsair apparently has a very comically large desk fan with RGB lighting, and the Jorge Jimenez says, I'm pretty sure people would buy Corsair's gigantic joke cooling fan. It legit looks like one of those box fans, just with Corsair's logo and RGB. Like, they basically just took a mini fan, scaled it up to like one of those box fans, and made it like a Corsair RGB fan. It looks cool. It's called the Corsair LL500mm RGB. It looks ridiculous. I love it. Well, let's turn that off there. Got a gentleman talking. They're taking measurements of the fan, making it bigger. Yeah, so yeah, like I thought, they decided to put it into a box. Like it's a legit box fan size. It's kind of hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, if I didn't have my birds, I would buy that because I'd want to put like something like they stay away from my fan, the fan that I do have, and that has like grates on it. But I definitely want to put grates on it just because like, you know, like what is it? Like they have to put like they have to put a sticker, "Do not eat" on hammers or something like that because, you know, dumb people have done dumb things. So, you know, stupidity reigns supreme. I don't know how relevant this is going to be because the article didn't really talk much about it. This was 11 hours ago, so this may be a day or a weekend sale here. But Razer sale, save up to 60% on gaming keyboards, mice, and laptops and more. Score a discount on a dozen of Razer hardware items, including some of our favorite gaming peripherals. This is by Paul Lilly at PCGamer.com. So they've got like the Razer Black Shark V2 gaming headset with the 7.1 THX spatial surround sound. I do use the spatial surround sound on my HyperX Cloud 2s every so often, and I will admit it's really nice. You get a like when I'm watching a movie or listening to when I'm playing some video games, sometimes I sometimes can tell when I don't have the 7.1 spatial surround sound on. But like the V2 gaming headset is on sale for $79.99, saving you $20. The Razer Death Adder Essential Gaming Mouse, 6400 DPI. I don't know what that means, but I know that like might be relevant to a couple of you. That's on sale for $20, down from $50. There's the Sirian X microphone, the Basilisk Hyperspeed wireless mouse. I mean, the average saving is about $20 or more. So, yeah, what is this here? Is this an actual complete setup? Oh yeah, the Razer Blade 15 laptop 2020 is on sale. Holy banana sandwich! I have not heard that before. A Core i7 10750. I didn't think that it went that high. But yeah, apparently you can save like $325. It's got a 1660 Ti. It's a laptop, by the way. 120 hertz, 1080p, 16 gigs of RAM, 256 SSD. You can get one with a 2060. You can get one with a 2070 Max. I didn't even know the 2070 was a card. I thought it was a 20. Okay, but yeah, it only sounds like the 1660 is on sale for a little bit of money. So yeah, you could get yourself a Razer Blade 15 base gaming laptop that looks pretty dope. There's apparently only 10 left in stock, and this is at 7 o'clock at night. So I don't know how relevant that might be, but I know that they have other ones in stock there as well too. I'm just surprised. Like the one thing about gaming laptops that I've always been interested in is I've always been kind of curious, like what I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. Like I never really understood why the laptops, like I don't get laptops. Like I've always wondered how good they really are, because like I know my PC is constantly plugged in, but like how much of a drain, like how much, like if I decided to get on an airplane and start like, and I had a fully charged laptop, like how long would it actually last? How long would the battery actually last while I was playing? More power, more frames. Talking about that. All graphics, memory, and storage upgradability, ultra small is what they're talking about. Yeah, 120 hertz, 1920 by 1080 display, anodized aluminums, zero bloatware. I don't know. What is bloatware? Oh, so probably just the bare minimum is installed to take care of what you needed to. Only 4.5 pounds. Interesting. Only 4.5 pounds. Came out about a year ago, December 5th of 2020. Where's the information section? Let's see here. Yeah, it's got a camera, slots, 77 5-star rating. That's pretty awesome. Build quality, waiting for replacement. I should have listened to the reviews and advice on the laptop as being defective. Really, it doesn't have the side-by-side, like it doesn't have a comparaciones. I hate that when they don't have the comparaciones on everything, where they compare all the stuff. I always hated that when they didn't have that. Where like they tell you, like when you look at different products, it'll tell you about different products. Apparently, there's a live stream that's related to the product that's going on right now. Trisha Hershberger. I have not seen that woman in a while. Oh, she literally just went offline. Trisha Hershberger, I remember her from when she used to work with Philip DeFranco. God, that was so long ago. All right, on to the next interesting part here. Blizzard will no longer name characters after real people. So apparently a couple people, like Overwatch's gunslinger, McCree's name is being changed because Jesse McCree was a lead-level designer on Diablo 4. Diablo 4 was one of several senior Blizzard staff that was dismissed after the lawsuit that was brought against Activision Blizzard after numerous complaints about unlawful harassment, discrimination, and retaliation from the at the company. I always thought that was weird. Like why this stuff like it is a like. I mean, I get why you name people certain things, but I just don't see why this is. I don't get it. Excuse me, sorry. I'm drinking some clear American wild cherry. I don't understand why that's a thing. I don't get it. I think it's stupid. Like you don't like if you're gonna name somebody after like a lead designer or some like I don't know. It baffles my mind because it leaves the door open for issues in the past or in the future, I should say, where like you can run into these problems like if like I was talking about with the whole Bill Cosby thing earlier, where they had a cardboard cutout. They had the Bill Cosby suite because there was a cardboard cutout of Bill Cosby in there. Like what if it was Jeff Goldblum or something like that? It's just I like. Don't ever come out and just be like, oh yeah, this was named after our lead design developer, Jesse McCree. I feel like if you're going to name a character, you should just name the character and stick with it. It doesn't matter what negative connotations it has. This is all part of this nonsensical cancel culture with all this other dumb stuff. And that's a part of it. I think it's stupid in its own right. You shouldn't change a character like what, 10, 15, like, how long has when was Overwatch when did Overwatch come out? Yeah, 2016. The dude has been a part of the game since 2016. Is now 2021, and because this thing happened, you're gonna make an adjustment on it. That baffles and boggles my mind. What doesn't baffle and boggle my mind is that Madden NFL 22 got a rating of 7. I'm surprised it didn't get worse, fellas. I'm surprised it didn't get worse. So there's a couple ratings that GameInformer.com gave it. The concept: step onto the field once again as your favorite NFL team, but crowds and momentum play more of a significant role this time around. I've seen some gameplay where on the bottom right-hand corner, it'll be like, home field advantage or something. Like there's a bunch of information that's right down there in the bottom right-hand corner that like tells you your advantages and disadvantages. It looks pretty cool. Graphics, when the many technical errors aren't ripping you out of the immersion, Madden NFL 22 looks good. Spectators feel less mechanical thanks to new crowd animations. The sound commentary gets repetitive fast, but the remastered crowds sound great when the momentum is in the home team's favor. Playability, the core experience is extremely familiar, but the gameplay enhancements, both subtle and apparent, improve the play-by-play action. Entertainment, the atmosphere and enhancements are welcome additions, and the on-field action is largely sound, but Madden NFL 22 suffers from a lot of technical issues that hold it back, and its replay is moderately high. I always find it weird how like they might talk about replay or replayability for some of these sports games, because it's like, yeah, there's not really much in the way that you can say there's replayability when it comes to specific games, because like if you want to play a baseball game, you're not going to play a baseball game and be done. You know what I mean? Like you're going to maybe play a round, or you're probably going to play a couple games. Or like what I do is I sit down, I run through about a season or two. I don't play, all 17 or 18 games. Like I'll simulate a couple games. Usually I like to simulate through the season up until like right before the playoffs. If I need to win a couple of games, I try to win the couple of games so that way I can make it into the playoffs. And then I definitely do, win the Super Bowl almost every time I play. But like, to me, it really speaks volumes when like, these games are like, oh, replayability, and it's like moderately high to okay. Like, dude, there's not much you can do. There's really not a whole heck of a lot you can do. There are some of the game modes are interesting. I'm like, because I've got Madden 21. Yeah, I've got Madden NFL 21, and the only reason why I have Madden NFL 21 is because it was on sale. And the reason why it was on sale was I think it was like a summer Steam sale or something nonsense like that. But like there's that game where it's like 6-on-6 or 7-on-7 or something like that. And it is interesting. Like I do like the game. Like the game is fun. The replayability is fairly decent and fairly high, but at the same time it's kind of annoying. When there's certain game modes, or there's certain not game modes, but there's certain whatchamacallits. There's certain like the jerseys are weird. The play style is kind of interesting. It's more backyard football, and like I don't mind it being backyard football and all that other stuff, but just every once in a while it kind of confuses me with who I'm playing as or what have you. Like I wish that the game had more. I mean, the concept like feels like there could be more to it. I almost feel like they need to take a playbook out of some of their older generations where, I've had this for the longest, the issue for the longest while. Like there's only a few teams, like your relocations, the relocating your team or making adjustments to your team. There's only so many there's only a few good uniforms out of like the 10 or 15 places that you can go. Like I wish there was more customization available to you, like there were in the older Madden games, where you could relocate to wherever you wanted to. You could relocate, it's like, where are you moving? You could make up a town name. And then it's like, well, where's this located? And then you choose what state it's located in. I wish that, there was more customization. Like, let's go ahead and, choose from one of like 100 different logos or some nonsense like that. Or there was maybe like a build your own logo creator, like how NCAA 17 had you had the ability to go online, make a whole team online, and then upload it to and then you would download the information to your PlayStation, and it was like a program that you could edit. If I wanted Parrot Gaming Productions, I could upload the logo, size it to the helmet, and then I could download the game, and like that would be a team that I could play as the tropical the tropical parrots or something stupid like that. Who knows? All I know is that Madden NFL seems to have regressed from when I used to play Madden. An interesting story that I actually talked about yesterday. So I was super tired when I did. So I did a part one yesterday, like right after I did the initial thing, and I was super tired. I felt very hungover. It's funny, I don't drink, period. I just felt super tired. I was ridiculously, I was out of it. I was just straight out of it. I was not coherent, to say the least. I'll just put it to you that way. It's not coherent because my sleep cycle was all off. Just everything was off, and I tried my best to do it, and I explained partway through that like I had I randomly went to bed at like 7:00, woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I decided I was gonna power through it. Right, I was like, I'm gonna power through this. I'm gonna make it through it, and I'm gonna make shit happen. And what ended up happening was at about 8 or 9 in the morning, I got really, really sleepy. What USB keeps plugging in and out? What USB keeps going in and out? Shut up. What is going on now? Is it my thing? Is my camera being all weird? I guess my camera's being all weird. All right. We're going to go ahead and make an adjustment. All right. Everything appears to be working as it should be. I swear to God, this high-def camera that I have right here, this wide-angle 1080p, 30 frames, I think it's 30 frames a second, it has issues. Like, it only likes to be plugged in. Like, it only likes to be plugged in a specific spot. And it's really weird. So I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know why. It's weird. Like, it has to be plugged into this one. Like, it only has to be plugged into a specific outlet. But as I was saying yesterday, I decided to do this whole thing, and I'm glad this article still came here. And so Time Magazine ended up working with Fortnite to do a March Through Time, DC 1963. So I'm just going to read right from GameInformer.com right now, an article by Marcus Stewart. It went a little bit more in depth than the article I read yesterday, or that I saw yesterday. Basically, Fortnite has hosted brand crossovers and digital concerts featuring real-life celebrities, but it is also, but it hasn't held many events that would be normally deemed as educational, and that's a quote. That's changing as Epic and Time Studios have partnered up to launch an in-game experience dedicated to the works of Martin Luther King Jr. To answer what's likely your immediate question, no, this is not a competitive event in the slightest, nor is Dr. King apparently an in-game character or purchasable skin. Rather, the event, called March Through Time, celebrates the upcoming anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, August 28th, by letting players peacefully watch the entirety of the late civil rights leader speech, where the "I Have a Dream" speech within the world of Fortnite. The event kicks off today and is described as a year-long experience. It looks like they're basically, the players are transported to a reimagined version of Washington, D.C. in 1963, as seen in the trailer, and the event serves as an interactive museum of sorts. And I did see that they're going to go through an interactive exhibit. So I was kind of curious about it because I'd seen the article yesterday, and it didn't really make sense because it was like, is there going to be a skin? Is there going to be, is it going to be like what can you and can you not do in the game? And it sounds like they basically are disabling almost everything, and it's just basically like, here, go check out Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, and it seems like it's a legit educational thing. All right, so Arby's now officially sells Dungeons and Dragons dice. You know what? I'll go ahead and show this to you guys here. Let's go ahead and see how well that looks on there. So Arby's officially sells the Dungeons and Dragons dice. For those of you who are listening in the podcast, they are clear dice with the Arby's hat. It looks like the hat's in between there, as well as it's the gold Arby's, writing, I guess you would call it. On the D20, the Arby's logo is a 20. I think on the D6, Arby's is the Arby's logo is a D6. So that looks kind of interesting. And of course, Leanna Rupert, who is my favorite writer of all time for GameInformer.com, she wrote the article. So I feel blessed to read the article from her. A lot of the articles that she writes, I like to read. I don't know why that's the thing. What was it? PS5 Reef. There's another. Oh yeah. So that's right. What is it here? Madden. PlayStation rips Madden a new one. Where's the article here? That's something else I wanted to talk about. PlayStation rips Madden 22. Okay. Yeah, but apparently there's a lot of high stuff that's going on right now. Let's go ahead and watch this, I think. All right. So, there's this gentleman here. Sorry, it's a video. And I don't want to play audio because I know it's going to suck. But apparently there's a couple of articles, a couple of articles. I don't know if it's PlayStation 4 is what it sounds like, but Madden 22 is seems to be pretty pissed off. A lot of people seem to be pretty pissed off. Face of the franchise, a waste of time. Let's see here. This I guess these are user reviews. Face of the franchise is EA's attempt at creating an engaging story following an individual player from college to the NFL. The positions available to select from include quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and linebacker. Once you select your position in class, you will select from a limited handful of colleges as your origin. I selected the quarterback position. The magician, which is balanced, is a balanced quarterback class in the University of Oregon as my college. Once the story arc kicks off, you're introduced to a few annoying characters who will be your hype team and trainer in the NFL in the lead up to the NFL draft. You start things off with training camp, which will determine a few starting skill points. After that, you'll play through a couple flashback games during your college years to build your potential hype behind your player. There will be a few side objectives like interviewing with the press or selecting to go to Hawaii to play in a Russell Wilson charity event, which borrows gameplay from The Yard, and The Yard is that weird gameplay that I was talking about. Then you're off to NFL Combine to determine your position in the NFL. And then here's another review. The Yard, half-baked NFL straight. The backyard-style football mode, The Yard, makes a return in NFL in Madden 22. There are a total of 8 venues to visit. Hawaii, Italy, Berlin, and London. Each team is given 3 drives to score as many points as possible. So yeah, it sounds like it's kind of a half-baked idea. So the final word here, this player gave him a score of 3. Madden is a $1 billion franchise that has grown content thanks to its exclusivity deals. EA takes zero risk and fumbles each year, providing us rehashed version of previous entries. Madden NFL 22 is no different. Major improvements are outweighed by series fatigue. Instead of focusing on giving us polished gameplay mechanics and improved franchise mode, EA focus is divided into unwelcoming modes like Face of the Franchise, The Yard, leading to an overall incomplete and broken experience. Wow. Fuck off. Don't play. I don't pay you to play. To be honest with you, I didn't spend much time in the Ultimate Team. This one is by the Madden Ultimate Team, EA's cash cow. I resent this mode. It's EA's pay-to-play feature in Madden. Yep, the MUT team, the Madden Ultimate Team, is definitely pay-to-play. I fucking hate the Madden Ultimate Team game. It encourages you to spend money to unlock better player cards from your team. Otherwise, you're stuck grinding for hours on end. Yep. Even if you spend hundreds of dollars or hundreds of hours, it's only good for a year. Your master cards carry over as lower overall players, but your coins points and other players don't. If you don't spend money, then there really isn't much of a point. Your 75 overall team will be hit against some 90 overall team in online, and you'll get destroyed. Simple as that. So keep talking about that. So yeah, it basically talks about that at the whole thing. That's the problem that I've had with the Madden Ultimate Team. I absolutely hate the Madden Ultimate Team for 2 reasons. You seem to have to grind to get just some of the most barren. Like, I started to play it, and I think I did like 2 or 3. I think I did like 2 or 3 challenges. I barely made any coins. I think I unlocked like 170 card, but like I thought it would be different. Like I think that the concept behind it is really good. I absolutely 100% think that the concept behind the game is it's a great concept. They just need to reinvent things. Like the fact that, if I spend maybe $100, I can have like a level 80 team. And if I go online and playing against some level 70 team, and I get a win all the time online. And that's another thing with the online gaming. I don't like that, because I watched a guy play the other day, and he showed how broken, him and this guy went back and forth on a couple plays where they scored a couple different times on each other. But the dude was like, check this out. I can 1 or 2 play touchdown with this one play, because he would run up against free safeties that were always in zone coverage, and the zone coverages were always blown. And it was like a 15-minute video, and I watched all 15 minutes of it, and he was right. every single time he ran a play, like every single time he ran a play deep. Helios, would you relax? What? There is nobody. There is nothing. Chill. There is nobody. There is nothing. Nothing. That happens. That happens every so often. He decides to lose. Nothing adjusted. Nothing changed. I'm just right here. So, anyways, Men Ultimate Team is kind of trash. But the last bit of gaming news here that I wanted to touch on talks about Steam's 2-hour refund policy forces horror developer into an indefinite absence. The policy means well, but continues to punish developers of smaller games. This is brought to us by Kotaku.com. So, Amica Games, the lone developer behind games like the recently released Summer of '58, has decided to leave game development for an indefinite amount of time after Steam's 2-hour refund policy resulted in a huge number of returns for their latest titles. So the Summer of '58, I don't know why he does that. So the Summer of '58 released last month and has been well reviewed on Steam with an overall positive rating and loads of fans leaving nice comments giving practical praise to its atmosphere and jump scares. But as a short experience, it can be completed in around 90 minutes. That's left the game vulnerable to Steam's blanket 2-hour refund policy. The policy, which lets any Steam user get a full refund on a game if they've played it for less than 2 hours, means well. And if you were only 90 minutes into Assassin's Creed or Valhalla, it would be a perfectly fair and practical way to handle a matter. But for games that can be finished in under 2 hours, though, it's a huge problem. So, it sounds like you basically beat the game in under 2 hours, and then you can go ahead and get a refund for the game. And apparently people are using that to their advantage. Beat a game in... oh, God, that's... I was kind of curious where that article was going, and we learned at the same time. But, like, could you imagine that? Like, that's ridiculous. And then that's left Amica Games without the funds to continue work on their next game from day to day. And as a result, they've issued a statement saying that they're leaving gaming development for an indefinite amount of time to collect thoughts. That's fucked up. That's so jacked up. That's so horrible. I don't even know what to say. Like, that sucks. That sucks so much. Couldn't imagine that. Like, you make a game that's got a 90 overall positivity rating, but then, like you throw it out there that it's like, no, this game, there's only 90 minutes, so I beat it in 90 minutes or so, and then you get a refund. For those of you who are watching, I think for those of you who are watching, I think I spilled cream cheese on myself today, and it's just kind of funny because I think I mentioned it earlier. Like, we've had a nasty, horrible thunderstorm here, and I took Helios out today. Just a quick funny story. So, like, I've been trying to get a girlfriend, for everyone kind of knows this for the longest time, but I thought I almost had it in today. So I had to roll through to pick up some groceries and stuff like that, and I rolled up. And I called the phone. I called the groceries because I do online pickup where I order stuff, drive over, pick them up. I got Helios chilling on my shoulder because he wanted to step up and hang out. So I was like, fuck it, let's go pick up some groceries. This girl with the cutest voice ever answered my phone and was like, oh, goody, a cute girl's coming out, and like she's like, all right, I'll be right out with the groceries. I was like, dope. She gets to meet Helios. Helios was squawking while I was on the phone with her. And, she thought it was kind of cute that he was there. And then all of a sudden she comes out and Helios Helios is still squawking, but it very much isn't the cute girl that answered the phone. Some dude. So I thought that was kind of neither here nor there. I was like, yes, get some gravy. I was like, damn it. And then kind of came home, made myself breakfast, ended up taking a nap. Literally passed out watching some World War II documentaries. And I didn't even bother changing. I woke up. I was like, I got to do this because I got to edit. I've got to make a couple edits now that I'm doing an online video thing. So if you want to check out the online video stuff, it's just going to be on my YouTube channel, Parrot Gaming Productions, as well too. you'll be able to see the video versions of all this. I'm hoping to do more video podcasts because I know listening to a video or listening to a podcast can be fun, but maybe seeing my dumb face and the birds in the background would be kind of cool. I had a little bit of technical difficulty when I first started talking to DJ KRausz, so yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there that it wasn't the most polished experience, but your first experience is always a live and learn. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead and transition here real quick. We're going to go ahead and have DJ KRausz on. We're going to talk about some football, talk about being a comedians, and some other stuff. So, like I said, he wasn't too big into games, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and skip over some of that. I'm going to transition into it. I think we talked about it for like 2 minutes or something like that, but he's not a big gamer. DJ KRausz, how dare you come on him? He's not even here to defend himself. I loved you, man. I loved you. I had you on. I wish we could have talked more and more about gaming. He is a retro dude though. Like I'd like to take a roll of quarter. Like I'd like to get $20 worth of quarters, give him a roll of quarters, and go hang out with him in an arcade. I think we'd have some fun on some Mrs. Pac-Man. You know, some of those old school retro games. He sounds like he'd be a blast. Like I said, you know, here's a roll of quarters. Here's my roll of quarters. Like how I used to in Sam's. Man, I remember going to Sam's Pizza up in Wausau. Ooh, yeah. Might know where I live a little bit now. So Sam's Pizza is this town up in up in Wausau. There's this town called there's this place called Sam's Pizza, and I remember we used to go there for our birthday parties and stuff like that. And it'd be funny because like our parents would be like, "Here's a roll of quarters, Jared. You know, go play whatever." And me and my buddy would put in like $3 or $4 with Mega Man, and we'd be playing Mega Man, or we'd play The Simpsons, and we'd try to beat the game. And DJ KRausz, you sound like the kind of guy that I'd like to go. Here's your roll of quarters, son, and then we just play a bunch of Mega Man or Pac-Man or something like that. So it was fun having him on. I for sure am going to try to maybe have him on for some sports talk here in the future. He definitely sounds like the kind of guy I want to talk to about NFL. He sounds like a very competent individual. So we're going to go ahead and bring him on. I'm going to stop polishing him off there, and we're going to just go ahead and have him on and enjoy his company. All right. Everything's going to adjust. It's going to, we're going to go into the past. Hey, welcome to Parrot Gaming Productions, where my name is Jared, as always. And on this week, I have a comedian who's in a band talking about some video games, and his name is DJ KRausz. So, DJ, go ahead and give me a little introduction. Let the people know what's up.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I am in a band, like you said, with my cousin. We are called the Noise Noodles. So we do comedy music, and then I also do stand-up, which is fun. And I play a lot of video games, so that's also fun.
All right, well, stand-up, a band, as well as playing a lot of video games. That sounds like the perfect trifecta of awesome there, my man. And because this is video gaming, why don't we just start off here? You told me you play a ton of Pokemon. Like, I've noticed a theme here recently. Like, dude, everybody plays Pokemon. Like, so I guess, how did it start? Where did Pokemon come into play for you?
Yeah, for sure. So Pokemon Emerald was the first video game I ever played when I want to say I was 5 or 6 years old. And so it wasn't even my copy. I played it with my older sister a lot. And yeah, so Pokemon has been a thing throughout my entire time playing video games, and I still play it a ton.
Okay, man. Pokemon Emerald. So if that was your first, because like I was Pokemon Fire, Pokemon Red, and Yellow. So I take it that I'm a bit older than you are. If Emerald was your first game.
Yeah, I'm 22.
Okay. No, that's not bad. Then
Fire Red was the first game I ever beat by myself.
All right, nice. What? Who was your starter that you chose? Who do you usually roll with as a starter?
I mean, I know that it's the most chosen, and like I understand I'm a normie for it, but I have liked Charizard my entire life, and I chose Charmander always and forever, and the only reason I beat Fire Red when I beat it was because I had a really strong Charizard.
Hey, if any, I mean, if it works for the Marines, if it works for the fire department, it's got to work in Pokemon, right? You know, burn it down, burn it. You know, so that's awesome. What other kind of games do you really play? I mean, Pokemon, and you know, I don't want to really gloss over it, but like I said, apparently the last few guests I've had, just it's Pokemon. So let's try to throw a little variety in there. So what's up? What's up with the other games? What else do you play? What else is out there?
Yeah, I think the game that I've put the most time into on my Steam library is a Pac-Man Championship Edition DX,
Okay.
which is it's Pac-Man but new. And so like I hate playing the old Pac-Man games, but I love this one, and it gives you a little ranking at the bottom with like where you rank in the world, and I think I'm in the top 1% right now.
Okay. So what? Okay, so it's not the old; it's new. What's? I mean, how do you really expand upon Pac-Man, or am I maybe, you know, because like I'm thinking retro arcadey. So
Yeah, it keeps a similar aesthetic with some visual upgrades. So like obviously graphically, I mean they have tried to do different stuff, and you can use different graphical styles for this, but like I guess graphically they super neoned everything up, so it's
Okay.
just a lot brighter and it feels fuller. They added some features like you can press a button and it does a bomb, which causes all the ghosts to like go back to the center and
Ooh.
stop chasing you. They also have this mechanic where there are some ghosts that stay stationary, but when you pass them, they start forming a line behind you,
Okay.
and then they're just chasing you around everywhere. And so it's just like, yeah, there's not much you can do to change the Pac-Man formula, and they've tried to in the past to differing results, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and they have like time trials and 10-minute point score trials, and yeah.
So they turned it. They basically 80'sed it with a lot of the. It sounds like they basically took a playbook out of the 80s and made it more of kind of like a speed racer kind of thing. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit. That's not a bad comparison.
All right. So that's kind of where you lean heavily towards a lot of those really retro-y arcade kind of style games.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that, but that is pretty accurate. I do venture into some other stuff. I'm a big sports guy, so I play a lot of the sports games, even though they're getting worse as time goes on. But I also I play like a lot of Nintendo stuff, and I guess that goes along with the retro-y more.
Okay. We will touch on football because I've been watching some of the preseason, and I gotta say there's a lot of nonsense that really irks me. I think it was you that said that you're more into the NCAA than professional. Was that you, or was that maybe somebody else?
I think that was someone else.
Okay.
I'm super big into the NFL. I love college. I graduated from Penn State, so I'm a big college football guy. But I also like NFL has a deeper place in my heart than even college football does.
So for those of you who are not watching the video cast, which is something I am trying new, he's got Penn State as his he's got Penn State banners in the background for his windows, which is pretty dope. So what games do you play? What is it? Are you more of a FIFA kind of guy? Madden 22? What sport games are you into?
Yeah, I like Madden. I like doing the franchise mode on Madden, especially some of the older ones. And I always do the like fantasy draft option.
Yes.
So you can just get like, I'm trying to think of some of the teams I've had. I've had like Phillip Rivers playing with like Frank Gore and like just weird stuff like that. And it's always fun to see like different players on different teams than you're used to them being on.
Yeah, I actually I had a run where I took Baker Mayfield, paired him up with Le'Veon Bell, Tyreek Hill, and actually OBJ for a little while, and then I had a couple of good offensive lines, and I had a subpar defense, but OBJ kept dropping the ball. I was like, that's pretty interesting. You know, I throw him some lasers, and I'm like, isn't he rated like 90 or some crazy like? So, all right, I gotta ask then, if you are going for a draft pick and you could use everybody that's in the, you know, that's actually playing right now, like Trey Lance and all those other guys, who's your quarterback, who's your running back, and give me a good tight end that you would actually pick.
Ooh. If I'm going for my first pick on a quarterback, I think I'm going to take Josh Allen. I was a big Josh Allen guy before people believed in him. And it's just he has the arm and he can scramble around and get it done. And now he figured out the accuracy to put along with that.
Oh yeah.
And having Stephon Diggs helps a lot with that. But I think for running back, I mean, Penn State, I'm a big Saquon guy, and if he's healthy, he is the most dynamic running back in the league by far.
Oh, for sure.
Also, fun fact, I grew up in the same area he did, and I played in a high school football game against him.
Really? What
Yeah.
what were you? Were you on the were you defense?
Yeah, I was a defensive tackle at the time. I was a backup, so I didn't get in until a bit later in the game, but
Okay, I do have to ask then, how did you fare against him, or did he run you over?
yeah, our whole team didn't do great against him. It's always fun. There have been times where, and I'm a Giants fan too, so it's like I've seen him from like high school to my favorite college team to my favorite NFL team. And then sometimes the Giants will post like his high school highlight tape, and I'll just look and I'll be like, oh, I know some of those guys.
Man, I look at some of those players, and because like I'm a little bit older, I'm 34 actually, and it's always hilarious. I'll they'll be like, oh, so and so's like 32. I'm like, oh, there, wow. I wonder what I'm, like you see these guys and they're just doing so good, and you're like, well, I'm in a little half trailer running a little podcast, just grinding away at it, and these guys are multimillionaires, and you're like, life can take a real wicked turn, can it?
I mean, at 22, I'm even feeling some of that, because some of these, especially NBA, some of these guys are like 19 and like just destroying everyone, and I shouldn't be feeling as old as I am, but watching sports makes me feel super old.
You want to hear an interesting story? Shaq though, like I know that I think it was probably a couple different interviews where he talked about like his beginning, where I think he was paid like a couple million to start off with, and within like a week it was gone. Like as soon as he started, and he tells such a great story about being fiscally responsible. You want to hear about how not to do it and then to recover? Shaq is a really good story. He does talk a great deal, but I divulge because that's sports talk. So with the Steam library, I gotta ask because I'm the same way. I've got like maybe 40 games that I have in my library, 20 of which are downloaded and 5 of which I actually play. What's yours look like?
Yeah, I know. I think mine is worse than yours, but let me pull it up. Let's see. So I own 118 games.
Nice.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd say I have about 20 to 30 downloaded.
Okay.
And then I actually play maybe a third or half of those.
And how many of a third or half of those games that you actually do play are the Jackbox series? Because you said that Jackbox is your fondest memory.
Yes, I play. Jackbox is probably one of them is probably like second or third in amount of time played. Yeah, I do have a lot of fond memories with Jackbox because throughout college, me and my college roommates, which I lived with like, there were times where I lived with six people, six other people at the same time in college, and so that's enough to play a full Jackbox
Oh
game, and
yeah.
so it would just be us playing sometimes. And there were a lot of really great inside jokes that came out of that we basically ended up creating more or less our own language where we would be saying words to each other in English, but nobody listening would understand.
Yeah. With Jackbox, for those of you who don't know, Jackbox is essentially party pack games where I think it's some of them are a minimum of at least two up to like eight different people where they just created these party games that you can play, and they're ridiculously fun. I've got a buddy of mine who I play with almost every so often. They're absolutely fantastic games, and that dorm life, or college, or those party houses that you guys lived in. Because I mean, I joined the military. I never went to college, but my little brothers did, and I heard all the stories. I visited his little frat house where there's like 8 or 10 of dudes just living it up. It was bad. But you'd throw jackbacks on there, and you could get a couple different people. Did you have any specific? I don't know if you'd call it a game or a specific mode that you enjoyed the most out of Jackbox.
Yeah, I think my favorite one, I believe it's on Jackbox 3. It's called TKO.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the premise is you draw a couple pictures and then you write a bunch of words or phrases that then will get combined onto a shirt. So you get somebody else's drawings and a bunch of the different catchphrases people put in. Uh, and there can just be some really funny ones where it lines up perfectly and people get the perfect combo of the picture and the caption, or it can just be completely out of left field, two things that shouldn't go well together that do. And you're also drawing on a phone and you have like 30 seconds, so all the drawings are terrible, which is hilarious in its own right. So I think that one's probably my favorite.
Did anybody have a stylist, or like they were a pretty good artist on their phone?
Um, no, but we had a
Ah.
couple times where people would draw something and we'd be like, "How did you draw that in that amount of time?" But no one went super hard mode with the stylus.
Okay, because I had we in our group, I used to have the LG Stylo 2, and I used to try really hard to get pretty good, and you've seen some of those people on like stream or whatever, and they're pretty awesome. Um, I do have some quick questions here, it kind of gaming related, if you will. Some things I've been watching today. Have you seen, I guess, some of the hypocrisy? Have you been keeping up with Twitch at all, and some of the it's a little bit older news, but have you ever kept up with Twitch and its weirdness with the hot tub streams and some of the weird things that go on with Twitch in that kind of realm, the different double standards for people at all?
I'm vaguely aware because I think my knowledge of it mostly comes from seeing people joking about it on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'll understand the meme, but I won't actually know specifically what they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So I know a little bit about it, but not a whole ton.
Okay, yeah, because I watched a couple of YouTube videos today, and just the differences of where someone's talking about essentially a double standard that Twitch has, and then all of a sudden, their next tweet or their next post is something that's straight up on par with that. But I'm glad that you enjoy the NFL. I guess we're gonna shift gears here because I love the NFL. I love Colin Cowherd. I listen to him all the time. I like his hot takes. I know he was a big fan of Josh Allen beforehand too, and I find it. Oh God, who was it? Like when Kirk Cousins went from the the Washington football team, I guess I'll call them that, to what is now the Minnesota Vikings.
I was excited, just like when Josh Allen started getting good. I was like, good. I want to see what they can do with a quote unquote better team. So who is your team then? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think I very briefly on the side mentioned earlier I'm a Giants fan.
Giants fan. So yeah, I was curious. You said you were a Giants fan. I just know that a lot of times people are fans of maybe multiple teams or what have you, but you're New York through and through.
Yeah, I mean, my dad grew up in the middle of New Jersey, and his parents grew up in the Bronx. So I'm New York across most sports, except for basketball, where I'm a Sixers fan.
Okay.
But yeah, so I am a Giants fan, and that fits in with my New York for the most part.
I take it you remember that Daniel Jones run where he the turf monster got him.
Yeah, I think I was working. I worked at a bar in the kitchen for a little bit, and I think I was working in the bar when that happened. And yeah, that was a very interesting run. It was still like a 60 or 70-yard run, I think, which is still very impressive. But
That man had a hole as wide as a Tonka truck, and he was just a going. I don't know what happened. I was so sad when I saw it, but I don't know how he tripped or why he tripped. But yeah, he did, and it was it was disastrous.
I mean, I think they still ended up scoring a touchdown like 2 or 3 plays later, but still wasn't a great look, and people tweet that gif constantly.
Yeah, I wish he would have gotten it because that was a hell of a run. I don't know what the longest quarterback sneak would have been, but I think that would have had to have ranked up towards the top. What do you think about these taunting calls in that the NFL is trying to introduce a little bit more often now?
I I okay, so being a Giants fan, there was a quote that came out from John Mara a couple weeks ago where he was saying like, "Oh yeah, we need to be cracking down on this," and I could not disagree more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine, and they're just taking the fun out of the game. I I don't get why. Like it's always like it just makes the game more fun, and they've even like they've lightened up on some of this in previous years with like celebrations after plays. They're allowing more stuff with that and team celebrations, and it feels like they're just walking in the opposite direction from where they were taking the league just a couple years ago.
So you're a big fan of the celebrations and the elaborateness that goes with the celebrations.
Yeah, I mean, these guys worked really hard to get to the level they're at, and if they're clowning other people who are really great at their sport, like, they earned the right to do that.
I will give you that some of them are good. Some of the celebrations are pretty awesome. I'm a huge Packer fan, and I'm not a fan of Randy Moss whatsoever, but I remember when I think it was Randy Moss, he mooned the Packers after scoring a brilliant touchdown. I thought it was hilarious. I'm all for those quick, just little short celebrations, but the one where you line up like a bunch of bowling pins, you roll the defensive, you roll your tackle at all the guys and they all fall down. It's like at what point does it go over the top? You know what I mean? Like some of them are great, like I said, but at what point do you find yourself looking at a celebration and go, maybe that was a little too pre-planned? Maybe that was a little too much in the works.
Oh, I think my favorite is, I don't remember who it is. I think he played for the Saints, but he scored a touchdown and he had hidden a cell phone in the rubber of the pylon. And then he went and got the cell phone and like called his kid and was like, "Hey, I just scored a touchdown."
Oh my god, I remember that. That was absolutely ridiculous. Those are great. I will admit that. And the reason why I brought up the taunting, and I guess the celebrations come with it, is because I saw a taunting call. Let's see here, because I have it. I wrote it down. So there's the taunting call. The Chargers, I guess, had a taunting call, which I was like, no, not even close. And then there was another taunting call where the guy had, I think it was the Chargers. It was like a 5-yard run, and then his offensive line just got behind him and pushed him like another 5-10 yards. It was fantastic. He gets up, he's pumped, he's like, yeah, hell yeah. And I'm like, good for you. And the ref's like taunting. I was like, okay. He was excited. It was a great play. You got an extra 10 yards because the offensive line pushed you. Like, that's not taunting. And then the week before, it was basically the same thing, but it didn't get called, and I was confused, and I wish they would be consistent, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I saw that play too, and that's what I'm talking about with, like, that guy carried like 2 or 3 defenders for like 5 or 10 yards.
Oh, yeah.
And he deserves to celebrate that because he just carried like 3 times his body weight, if not more, for a while. And it's the same thing that it's looking like the same thing that happened with the pass interference calls is happening with this rule, because it took them like a full season to figure it out, and even then they just kind of stopped caring about it. And so I think the same thing's going to happen where they're going to start calling it more, and then they're going to stop calling what, like you said, a week later, they're not going to call something that was a taunting call a week ago, and it's just going to be terrible. And I think it's stupid that they're cracking down on it in the first place. Like, it's the mental aspect of football is super undervalued. And if you're going to crack by some dude just flexing at you or saying something to you, like, that's, and like, yeah, mental health matters, and I care about mental health, but that's different from like just cracking under pressure because somebody destroys you and then lets you know about it.
Oh yeah. I think it's called chirping on Letterkenny. I don't know. Yeah. You know what you're talking. Jalen Ramsey. I was watching some mic'd up about him earlier today. I was getting a little pumped. That man chirps like nobody else I have ever seen, and some of the most mundane, normal plays. Like, I get it, you're pumped, bro, but like, pump the brakes. You know, let's take 20% off of it a little bit.
Well, it's the funniest with the cornerbacks because it'll be a dropped ball and the wide receiver should have caught it, and they'll still be like putting up the X or like doing the like no completion sign. And I think they shouldn't crack down on taunting just because that's funny. And like guys gloating about the other guy just not doing their job is funny.
Yeah. It's great, but I just like Jalen Ramsey. I guess he was the best because I guess he had a lot of highlights on, you know, the mic'd up. But that man chirps like nobody I've seen before. Just some of the most mundane. Oh. Yeah.
He's notorious for just playing head games with his receivers and talking to them while they're on the line. And like, I think I've seen stuff about him like like DMing guys' girlfriends that he's gonna match up against on Instagram, and it's great. I love it. Like, that's what corners have done to get in wide receivers' heads for years. Like, look at guys like Deion Sanders. Like, watch his highlights, hear him talk about how much he was just trying to get in people's heads.
Dude, I mean, well, if you're going up against somebody like who was it, the Honey Badger or whatever that guy, Tyron.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce his last name?
Tyron Matthew.
I do like. I don't watch much of the Chiefs, but I'm kind of a fan that they don't call him that anymore, because it doesn't seem like he's earned that reputation. Like, he's like, okay, you're good in the college, but you know, when we come to the NFL, it's something else. But I mean, think of some of those greats that you go up against, like Tyreek Hill. That man has speed like nobody's business. And, you know, maybe he runs like a 4.2, 4.1, and you're like a 4.4, 4.5, and you're supposed to cover him. Even with 10 yards to maybe even 5 to start with him to catch up, how are you going to stop that? How do you stop something like that other than to get in the dude's head? Just, you know, like, maybe I'll get him to slip up. But, man, I couldn't even imagine going against, like, somebody like Randy Moss, who's got a vertical that's just like, I mean, some of the plays that they were used to talking about was just, okay, Moss, go up and get it. That used to be the play. Just, could you imagine being so good that it's like, Randy, go like 30 yards and I'll toss you the ball? Like,
yeah. To literally have the idea of just jumping over someone and catching a football named after you is insane. And that's just how good Randy Moss was at what he was doing.
Yeah. I can't believe that. Something else that I can't believe is the Browns and Giants. I think it was week 1 where you guys had wrapped up. I forget, it was some backup, but like he was escaping and they blew the whistle real quick, real fast. I like preseason. I like preseason because you get to see different people come out and play with it. But did you see what I was talking about, where you guys almost had the sack, but he was getting out of it and the refs blew it a little too quick?
I didn't see that. I haven't been watching a ton of preseason because I've been busy when the games have been on a lot, and I just kind of watch clips on Twitter, stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of get it. I mean, there's a reason they cut it down from 4 preseason games to 3. They want to stop guys from getting hurt. And so I think that makes sense. It's like the Pro Bowl. It's like it's barely even football at that point.
I mean, the one year that there was a flag in the Pro Bowl, I count that as a game because there was a flag. Ed Hockley, by the way, is I don't know, you know who Ed Hockley is, right?
Oh, yeah, absolute legend.
I love that man. I love his officiating. Yes, what was it? Yes, there are flags in the Pro Bowl or something crazy like that.
Oh yeah.
God, Ed Hockley's a beast. But I was just kind of surprised because like it wasn't even that good of a wrap up that you guys had that you had on the Browns, but it was like that was manageable. But they were just so quick on the whistle. It was like they were looking for an excuse to stop the play, and I wasn't too thrilled about it, but I was excited for it. I'm like you. I don't have time for the real games. I watch a lot of the highlights. I can't stand. My stepdad made a very good point. He said that the games themselves have become too politicized, too over the top. I want to watch sports. I don't care about anything behind it. I just want to see athletes go at it, and that's what I think I get out of just the highlights. All right, so I take it you probably watch a lot of just the highlights, or?
Sometimes. Once the regular season hits, I usually watch full games. The past few years being in college, you get a really sweet discount on Red Zone and Sunday Ticket.
Nice.
So I was able to watch all the out-of-market games. So what would end up happening is I'd have my one buddy come over to my apartment, and on one TV we'd have a Red Zone where Red Zone just flips between all the games where teams are close to scoring, or they'll show like when a big play happens, or like something crazy happens, and then on the other TV we'd have a full game we wanted to watch. So like he was an Eagles fan and I'm a Giants fan, so we would either have the Eagles or Giants game on if that was on, or another team that we had a bunch of guys in fantasy on, something like that.
That makes sense. So I do. Oh wait, wasn't it the Giants that went to 4 back-to-back Super Bowls and lost all 4 of them? Right? That was the Giants.
That was the Bills.
Oh, that was the Bills.
That was the Bills. And the Giants won one of those Super Bowls on a shanked 30-something yard kick.
Oh, that's right, because that started the downward spiral of the Bills.
Yep.
So if I gotta ask, then what is? Because I'm a big fan. Like last year. I'm a big fan of, I guess you would call it diversity. Like, yes, I love the Green Bay Packers. Yes, I would love to see them in every single Super Bowl, just like I'm sure you'd love to see your Giants in every Super Bowl. But last year presented an interesting possibility where it could have been the Packers versus the Bills. It could have been the Browns versus the Bills. It could have been this very interesting, and my Super Bowl that I wanted to see was like, let's take the Browns, who have never won a Super Bowl, and let's see the Bills, who like have not been to a Super Bowl in a long time, put them in, a Super Bowl matchup and kind of, go into a into a dream scenario. So if you had to pick maybe one or two Super Bowls that you would like to see as a fan of just football in general, what would be your top two actual Super Bowls that you would like to see played out?
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I love the Bills. My second favorite team flips back and forth. Back in like 2014-15, I had Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson in fantasy, so it was the Packers for a while. And yeah, it flips back and forth a little bit, but right now my second favorite team is definitely the Bills. And so I think any of my dream Super Bowls have the Bills in it. And so then I got to pick an NFC team.
Yeah.
I mean, love the Giants being in the Super Bowl. However, that would be a tough matchup for me to watch because for different reasons I would want both teams to win.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like let's see.
I know it's hard because a lot of NFC teams have done really, really good. Like, what is it? The Chargers they really haven't been into it. I'm pretty sure they're AFC. The Browns, the Bills, like a lot of the AFC teams really don't have that strong offense or that strong defense that could help carry them. Or they get to a specific time and then, like, what was it? The Bucks just came out and it's like, Tom Brady does what Tom Brady does and just Tom Brady's it. If you can use him as all the different languages. It's as you're looking, I've always found it interesting to find the little matchups, and I like how Colin does his little prediction maps, and you get to watch the evolution, especially as you go throughout the season, to go, this is how Team A is evolving or Team B is evolving, and you get really interested in it. And I like to see those teams that maybe not that maybe aren't super heavy favored or something along those lines. Those are some of the nice matchups that I like.
Yeah. Oh, you know who I like? Okay, here's who I like in the NFC. I mean, the Saints have had some success in the past. They won a Super Bowl. It's Drew Brees, and they're always in the playoff picture. But, dude, I love Jameis Winston. I think he's a really just fun quarterback to watch play football. And I think it would be fun if he's really good this year.
Yeah, I was watching some of the highlights, and he was looking good. I feel, though, like he might end up like Teddy Bridgewater, a good, solid backup. Not really good enough to be a starter, but not really bad enough to be a second string. Like, he's kind of in between, you know what I mean? Like, he's just good enough, but he's not good enough. It's kind of a hard take.
The thing with Jameis Winston is, like, he did lead the league in passing one year. And I didn't get in an argument, but I kind of responded to somebody slandering him online. And so I was looking at his stats, and people talk about his interceptions and the 30 interception year. And people always frame it as 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But actually, downs and 30 interceptions, which is a very small difference, but it's very big when you're thinking about touchdown interception ratio. And he actually has had more touchdowns than interceptions every year of his career. It's just that a lot of his interceptions were in unfortunate moments, and so people remember them. And I mean, I also grew up watching Eli Manning, so maybe I'm just a little more sympathetic towards that kind of quarterback who, like, blows everything up, throws a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns, but also has a couple more interceptions than he should. But also, Jameis Winston got LASIK eye surgery since the last time he was a starter, and I think that could help him a lot.
Well, I mean, take a look at Brett Favre. The dude was just a gunslinger. It was absolutely. I was astonished that we made it to a Super Bowl and won. Against Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots. So But then again, Favre had that very famous cross-body, cross-field throw, when he was with the Vikings that ultimately that he used to do, but, once you become that old man, you just can't do. And, that's one of the biggest problems that I see in the NFL is that a lot of players even are defined by, that one big bad moment. And that's something that I fall into a lot too, because I watch the NFL at a casual pace, where, that's all I'm catching are the highlights. So that massive interception that Jameis Winston might throw, I see that. And, I see the 2 or 3 touchdowns that he throws. I don't see all the great first down passes. I don't see the great check downs. I don't see all that other great stuff that happens out there. But you see that interception with the 2 minutes to go on the 2-minute drive, and you're like, the guy sucks, so
Yeah.
I feel you.
Well, yeah. And Brett Favre, literally his first pass in his NFL career was a pick six.
That doesn't surprise me.
So, judge a man not on his first play, but on, I don't know, you probably don't even want to judge him on his final play because usually those are pretty bad too.
Well, I mean, I can judge him for his off-the-field antics and, the craziness that he was, that was with Brett Favre, and I'm really hoping it doesn't happen with Rodgers. And as much as it pains me to see what's going on with Rodgers right now, I would be very interested to see him in a different uniform because I think of this. If Brady can go to another team, learn an offense on a COVID year with no preseason and do that, and Rodgers, according to almost all the other analysts that are out there, is quote unquote better than Tom Brady at times, if not all the time. Let's put him on. Let's give what was it? There was talk about him going to the Broncos or him going to the Saints. Give him that Saints O-line. I saw Jameis Winston. He had all day. I saw Taysom Hill have all day. Just that, okay, let's see what Rodgers can do there with maybe a better team who is maybe a different styled offense or something like that. I mean, what you got a take on that at all with the whole Rodgers controversy?
It's all okay now because you traded for Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is here to save the day. He's the savior you needed.
Oh my God. I can't believe they went back and got Cobb after all that. Well, I mean,
hey, it's what they needed to do to get Rodgers back.
Well, remember how he was talking? Was it at that tight end that he was talking about, where he's like, "Yeah, I really like that guy," and he was cut the next week or something crazy like that?
Yeah, and there was another player he was talking about in a press conference a couple weeks ago, and one of the reporters joked about you just doomed his career.
Yeah, you just doomed it. That's gotta suck so much to be like, yeah, Randall Cobb's a great wide receiver. Hey, Cobb, you want to go to the Texans? It's just all right, I guess. God, I couldn't imagine that. I just could not imagine that.
I mean, I totally get Rodgers being pissed though. It was probably the deepest wide receiver draft in history, and they draft a quarterback in the first round. Excuse me, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'd be pissed too. I think how he's handling it might be a little unreasonable at times. Also, though, it is hilarious him just camp is starting and there's just videos of him hanging out in some tropical country with what I think it was Miles Teller. Or was it another actor?
I don't know.
He was hanging out with some actor and his wife in a tropical country, and just my team's out there grinding on the field right now, and this is what I'm doing because I want to get traded.
I'm sipping Mai Tais on the beach. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it, front office?
Yeah. I mean, and he's Aaron Rodgers, so he can do that because he's gonna come back and still be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like his attitude towards it. I mean, I get he's got a chip on his shoulder. I 100% agree with you on everything you just said, but it's kind of what happened with him and Favre. They were like, Favre's on his way out. Let's pick up the guy from Cal State. That was pretty awesome. So I feel like he should have maybe kind of foreseen it, but at the same time, Favre thought he still had his gas in the tank, and then we saw what happened there, and I'm just kind of waiting for that downfall, but the downfall hasn't happened yet. So, maybe Rodgers can go another, 10 years like Brady's been doing. But at the same time, I see why they did it. But I thought he had more say. I thought he had more pull than he did. But I guess not.
Yeah.
I
want to see Rodgers win one more Super Bowl. I think he deserves it after some of the he is the reason the Packers have been as good as they have been for as long as they have been. And people want to talk about him not winning NFC championships and all that, but think about all the stuff he did that the team would have lost if it was any other quarterback in existence playing quarterback, where they wouldn't have even been in the championship game. The dude is a magician. The dude is David Blaine of football. And you just gotta, he deserves a team around him that can take him to a Super Bowl again. Yeah,
for sure. And speaking of magicians, if you run a YouTube channel, I don't have it up right now. I think I actually adjusted it on your little doohickey. Let me look at my other screen. Noise Noodles. So you decided to pull one out of the rabbit's hat here, and you do comedy, right?
Yes, that's correct. I never have a good way to describe the music we make, and we make sketches and stuff also, but we started as a band, and that's our bread and butter. It's hard for me to describe, because I would describe us like Tenacious D or other comedy bands like that, but I think we're a combination of a bunch of those bands, and we take different aspects from a lot of them.
What made you get into a band, and then also what made you do comedy to begin with?
Sure. Well, I started playing music in general in 8th grade because I wanted to play at my church's youth praise band. And so that's how I started on music. And then I think about a year or two later, my cousin started playing more or less same instruments I did. He was in music before, though. He had played trumpet in middle school and had wanted to delve into guitar and stuff like that. So I've just played music for a really long time, and then him and I kind of being on the musical journey together and growing up together, we, for a very long time, a few years, we're we should start a band. Mm-hmm. Oh, we should start a band. And then finally, at one point, I sent him a meme that there was a rattlesnake in it, and he was and it was I think it called it a danger noodle, and then he was oh, it's not a danger noodle, it's just a noise noodle. And then I was that's a great band name. And he was let's make that the name of our band, and let's actually start our band this time.
Nice.
And so we did. And I don't know, as for the comedy, so he handles a lot of the musical aspect of things. He chooses a lot of the keys and does a lot of the chord progressions, stuff like that. And I do a lot of the writing of the lyrics and a lot of the planning for other stuff like that. And so I've always been drawn to comedy. I have always liked making people laugh, and when I was a kid, I took 8 years of acting classes, and I always loved improv and that aspect of comedy. And then this was just another avenue to outlet how I wanted to make people laugh.
So I know a couple of my friends have told me I should try stand-up. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I don't think I'm that funny. I really don't. I can make them laugh their asses off. I can make them lose a couple of pounds if I really tried giggling. But they're my friends. They understand my humor. How do you get up on stage and just go, I'm gonna make these 20, these 30, 100 people or whatever your crowd size is giggle until they can't take it anymore. What's your approach? How do you get the confidence? Just give me. I don't know. I don't know how to ask this question. I don't know where I'm going. Please take the reins away from me before something bad happens.
Sure. I started doing stand-up a year or two ago, and I was just kind of watching. I was watching a John Mulaney special on YouTube, which he is a master of the craft. And
he's amazing.
I don't think there is a stand-up comic in existence that doesn't want to emulate John Mulaney. But I was just kind of watching him and thinking about stories of stuff that has happened to me, and I was like, I could do this. And so I started writing, and I decided I wanted to start doing stand-up in the middle of COVID, which is absolutely the greatest time to decide you want to perform in front of people.
Couldn't have picked a better time, my man. Couldn't have picked a better time.
And I dabbled a little bit at the front with doing like Zoom stand-up, and then I hated that, and I stopped doing Zoom stand-up, and then things finally started opening back up again, and I was able to start going to venues. For me, it's all about storytelling. All of my bits have different stories interwoven between them, and I like using stories as an anchor to allow me to make jokes through. And I think that's the direction a lot of stand-up comics take it nowadays. And I mean, talking about like having friends and like friends telling, like making friends laugh and stuff. Like my friends are my testing ground. I'll write a bit, and then anytime I see an opportunity to practice any of my bits in normal conversation, I'll say it, and then the next time it comes up, I'll say it a different way to someone else and see what works and see what doesn't. And since like professional stand-ups go to like the small open mics that are my like main performances to practice their material, so I gotta find an even smaller crowd than what I would be performing in front of to practice in front of. So I just use my friends as guinea pigs.
So I take it then you like somebody like Jim Jeffries then?
Yes, I haven't listened to a ton of his stuff, but I do. My favorite stand-up is Mike Birbiglia.
Yes.
And what I love about him is he's just super raw, and like he gets deep. Like, his stuff is super funny and he's hilarious, but then like I think there's been one or two of his specials that I literally like cried. And my favorite special of all time is his special My Girlfriend's Boyfriend, which is on Netflix. Hilarious special. Also, I've definitely cried while watching it on at least one occasion.
Tears of happiness, tears of sadness, were you laughing too hard, or?
The special hits some deep themes.
Okay.
But also it is very funny. So I think both.
Okay. All right.
I've cried tears of happiness and sadness watching it, which I feel like is like, that's great comedy, where like 1 second you're like having an existential crisis and you feel terrible, and then the next second you're laughing so hard that you don't feel terrible anymore.
Very true. Very true. That's I do like Mike Birbiglia. I like his style. It's very different than a lot of the comedians that I listen to. I'm more of a Jim Jeffries, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, huge on Bill Burr. Excuse me. That's where I take a lot of my hot takes, and I don't know if you've ever listened to Bill Burr's podcast, but I try to emulate that because that seems to be what gets a lot of the giggles out of people with me. So, I do have to ask, do you have any good bombing stories where you've just absolutely eaten poop and just you couldn't recover?
Um, I'm still pretty green. I haven't done a ton of open mics or shows, so I don't have a ton of great bombing stories. But I will say, I have found I'm better. I've had a lot of performances where the stuff I didn't write and I just kind of went on stage and said has done better than my prepared material a lot of the time. So,
Nice.
I lived in Orlando, Florida for a couple months, and I had just moved there. And I was like, I have no clue what I'm going to say as the like opener warm-up stuff before I actually get into the story I want to tell. So I just told a bunch of Florida jokes, and people loved that way more than the story I told. And so I was just kind of standing up there on stage like, what does that say about my writing ability that I spend hours writing and editing and double checking, making sure I like the verbiage of this bit, and then I can go up and talk about cranes for 5 minutes, and that does better.
I think sometimes people can tell when something is curated versus when it's just off the cuff kind of thing. Like when a comedian still laughs at his own bit and you can tell it's a genuine laugh. I think that gets the audience riled a little bit more because you're like, okay, this is more of a this is a more personal thing, and it's not just like, and the dog did bear, so maybe that, but then again, you were in Florida, so I don't know what that says to anything. So when you do stand up, I do have to ask, what was your first time like? If you can kind of talk a little bit about that. Was there a big rush? Did you throw up beforehand? Was there a lot of adrenaline, or was it just fuck it, let's rock it?
So my first time doing stand-up was actually at a talent show that I was also hosting.
Okay.
So it was pretty fun because I got to do a bit where I introduced myself onto the stage, and then I walked off and then back on. And that was pretty great. I was a little nervous because it was like I had written all of this like months earlier, and I'm not a very detail-oriented person, but then I am when I'm writing stand-up. So like if I'm writing if I was writing a school report, or if I'm writing like an email for work, I'm not super, I just want to get this done and ship this off.
Yeah.
But then when I'm doing stand-up, I'm like, I actually care about this a lot more. And I'm not being told I have to do this, so I'm putting more effort towards it.
I feel you.
I don't know. I'm just kind of anti-establishment sometimes and don't like when people tell me what to do, and so I don't try as hard.
I feel you on that.
And so, yeah, there was there were a lot of nerves, and I think I ended up missing like 2 parts of the story, but then the parts I did tell went really well, and it was pretty cool. And yeah, I think it did help though that I was hosting the talent show, and like I was talking a lot anyway, so it's like, all right, this is just me talking for a little bit longer than the other spots where I'm talking.
So I do apologize here. I decided to throw off my sleep cycle. I've been up since 3 a.m. today. I went to bed so I watched the 3rd episode of the What If season on Marvel, right? And then my body said 7 p.m. great time to take a nap. Woke up at 3 in the morning, decided that I was going to hit it up with an energy drink. That lasted till about 9 o'clock, and I've been struggling ever since. So if I ask you a lot of questions, I apologize to things you may have already said before. So you said you introduced yourself. Were you the first act, or were you like introduce yourself into the act?
No. So and it's fine with the questions. I love the sound of my own voice, so I can keep talking as much as you want me to. So I wasn't the first act. I think I was second or third to last.
Okay.
And so I just I introduced every act, and I had little bits between each act where I was like jokingly introducing the next person. And so I just kind of did that for myself by, I was very vain. And that was basically the joke, was that I was gassing myself up a lot, but they didn't know it was me. And then I told them it was me.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, I can see how that works. Like, I know a lot of people have the fear of just going up and talking. But then again, like, I remember I was in a speech class, and we had to read a story or something like that we had. I forget, it was some dumb freshman college course. But then again, you know, I'm 27, 28, going into a freshman college course, and these kids are all 18. And they're stumbling through the words, and you're amping yourself up to read it, and then, you know, you public speak so many times, you have that little ramp up to where you're like, I got this is easy. And so, you know, when you're ramping yourself up, I can see why that would make things so much easier, as opposed to, and first up we got DJ KRausz, he's gonna tell us some jokes, and you're just like, well, fuck it, here it goes. Instead of, you know, like, hey, we got bruh, you know, next thing you know, you're like, oh, you're like pumped and ready. So I totally got you. So yeah. I wanna put you to the test a little bit here. You don't have to be funny if you don't want to. You can give these people general advice. They'll probably never see it. I like to go on Reddit. And on Reddit, there's a great... I mean, that's how you and I met, off of the podcast subreddit. But I like to go on advice. And I like to read some people's advice questions. A lot of the advice questions, I think, are trash garbage. It's funny because they have an advice section, and then they have a relationship advice. And for some reason, our advice should be generalized anything. It's purely like, my boyfriend this, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of want to read you the one that I found because it's a little ridiculous. I can't tell if this person is being serious or not. But we're going to start off with a gentleman here by the name of The Accountant. He says, how can a baby-faced man look his age? I'm 29, but people think I'm 18. When I answer the door to the house that I own, people look past me expecting my dad. I can't grow facial hair very well. My voice isn't that deep. Not high either, but it doesn't offset my face. Does anyone have any pointers? So how does the accountant not look like he's 18?
I think this is pretty easy, and this is a very, very simple fix. Buy a fake mustache.
That's it. Buy a fake mustache.
Yeah. If you can't grow facial hair and that's his concern, just buy a fake mustache and you glue it on. You could buy a bunch of them. Just buy, like the person delivering your order from Amazon with the giant box of fake mustaches. That's the last person that's going to think that you're young.
I mean, they do it with toupees, so why not? Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. I knew a lot of people that their facial hair grows super sporadically, and it almost makes it look worse. I'm literally the same way. Like, if I shave this off, man, I look like, I remember where was I? Oh, that's right, I was in a place I wasn't supposed to be in. Literally, our orders were blacked out, so we were living on a 1-by-1 mile base in a place that we technically didn't exist. And so for me, because like I would get haircuts, I just everything shaved, just shave everything off. I swear I look 16. Like, it's ridiculous. If I shave this, I look like a child. Thank goodness I grow a nice full beard, but I mean, like, at some, like, I don't think there's any hope for you, you know, other than, you're right, a fake mustache. Like, there's really no hope for you. It's ridiculous.
I thought of a second alternative. I think it might work if, like, they don't want to, you know, I get it. You don't want to wear a fake mustache all the time. Mm-hmm. You're once you take it off, your face is going to be pretty red. If you're buying cheap ones, which you would have to if you're buying one for every day of the year, the glue's pretty crappy probably. Yeah. So I get it. I get why this guy might want to not go with my previous solution.
Don't be a dick.
So I think alternatively, every day he could just dress up like a 1920s detective, and then that'll make him look older because he's dressing like someone from a previous period of time. But he has to go all out with it, like the brown fedora, brown trench coat. He's got to start monologuing just out loud, and then if he really wanted to, he could also just wear everything black and white and then wear like black and white makeup, and then he'd really look like he's old.
I would love to see the greaser look, the slicked hair, the rolled up sleeves with a cigarette pack in it, that the oh god, the Ed Hardy tattoo on the side of a gal. Yeah, that'd be dope. Speaking of tattoos here, we have a gentleman by, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. He's asking us, do neck tattoos still put you at a disadvantage when it comes to jobs? He says, so I want to get a tattoo on my neck, but I'm worried that my job... Well, I don't even know if this is a guy or a gal. So I want to get a tattoo on my neck, but I'm worried that my job prospects won't look good, and I'll be turned down because of them. Does anyone out there have any knowledge of the current times or know if this is a good idea? What do you throw out there for this individuals?
So whatever job they want the most, they should get that company's logo tattooed on their neck, because then they'll go in for the interview and they'll be like, look how dedicated I am to your organization, hire me. And then not only will they have job prospects, they will have the job they wanted.
It would be like Daddy Trejo with the cross out, Cindy, or what, instead of Cindy, Home Depot, cross it out. No, I'm all for Lowe's, guys. I'm all for Lowe's.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's great. All right, I do want to ask you that one question because I loved it here. Where was it? So this gentleman is asking, is my girlfriend going to break up with me? Last Sunday, my girlfriend created a shared Tinder profile with some friends in order to go out and party with new people. Her friends want to meet some boys. They're 22, which is interesting. He calls them boys. She's been in another city since last week. She told me that she met a hot boy, but nothing happens since she thinks that, quote, that our relationship is serious, end quote. We have been together almost 4 years. We broke up 3 months ago because I broke her trust. We went back together a month ago. Since that day, the day she met the boy, she rarely replies to my text messages. She told me that she wanted to think about what she wants, disconnected and disorganized, and that kind of talks more about some other stuff, but you can kind of see where the trend is going there. So do you think he's going to be single here shortly, if not already? Because this was 8 days ago, so we're a little late. We're a little late.
Yeah, I think he is probably reading things correctly, and probably didn't need to ask Reddit what was happening. But if I were to give him advice, I think he should just get ahead of it, and he should break up with her so that she doesn't break up with him. Mm-hmm. And then, he wins because he did it first.
Yeah, the moment, because like that second, it's like, oh yeah, I broke her trust, but we got back together. But we've been together almost 4 years, but we broke up 3 months ago and got back together a month ago. And then she's like, what was it? She met a, quote, hot boy. It's like, bro, come on. Like really, do you really have to, like, there's...
I mean, even if he, like, trusts that what she said is accurate and she didn't actually cheat on him, it still seems like pretty soon she would be getting cold feet. And so... here's another idea for how he could fix things if he really cares about her and wants to keep the relationship together. Him and he gets a bunch of his guys,
No.
and they make a joint Tinder account until they match with the group of girls, and then they just merge friend groups and they all start dating, and then everything's great. And everything's fixed. Yeah, there you go.
I hate those group photos because like I'm a single guy. I'm swiping on Tinder, come across a group photo. I'm like, I already know exactly who the person is that's on this photo. I know it's not that hard to pick that. Like, it's really tough when it's a group of all very good looking, attractive women where you're like, who's number 2? And then I love it because you'll go to the second photo and it's a photo of 2 of the girls from the previous photo, but it's just 2 instead of 4. You're like, this is a game. I don't know what we're playing here, but this is a game. So the final question here, and this one is a little bit more relevant. A gentleman of Lord 2003 says, I'm always at the bottom of my social circles and I hate it. I'm an 18-year-old male, and honestly I don't understand why I'm always the butt of jokes. Constantly disrespected and just shit on in general. Like, why? Is it the way I look, speak, walk? Is it my personality? Am I too loud? I don't have any clue at this point. I've always been treated as less, isolated, felt unimportant, and worthless. In the end, I just isolate/remove myself from these groups. It's super hard to find friends, and it really sucks. Is there any advice on how not to be shit on constantly? I always stand up for myself, but frankly, I'm tired as fuck and can't take it anymore. Any advice on how to deal with this?
Ooh, that's a toughie. I think it depends on who his friends are. Because if it's just a group of guys, that's normal.
Yeah. That was my thought.
If anything, that means that they respect him a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's just how it be. And so if all of his friends are guys and that's who this is happening with, he just needs to start like not fighting back and like standing up for himself, but he just needs to make fun of them back, and then like everything's fine. That's just how normal male relationships generally work. However, if it is either a combination of men and women or women who are making fun of him, that is a separate thing, and I think he just kind of needs to get better friends.
Yeah. Because because I know at the beginning of this podcast, right before I actually started recording it, I was like fiddling with overlays and I was doing a bunch of stuff, and I texted a buddy of mine. I was like, yo, like, what do you think of this overlay? And, my stupid face is in the photo because, like, I'm trying to figure it out. And he's like, yeah, that dude on the left, he's kind of dumb. But other than that, like, it looks great. I'm like, don't worry, he'll fuck off. No big deal. And, that's how it, you're right. That's how it would be. I mean, I'd realized that I was part of the group when I was finally in the military, when people would really dig on me. They'd kind of give me little jabs in here and there. But as soon as people were taking real big pop shots, and like I was really getting ragged on, I was like, I'm part of the group. That's just how it is. At the end of the day, of course, I tell everybody, I'm like, I love you, man. No, and my friends tell me I love them too. But like, if I'm not getting made fun of, I can tell something's wrong with my friends. I can tell something's, it's like, are you all right, man? Usually you've cracked on me a few times by now, but yeah, I think I hate to say the phrase here, but you need to man the fuck up and realize that's just how it is. But if this, like, you're right, if this is women making fun of you, bro, you need to get out real quick. That's not good. So with COVID and everything else like that, that's out there and that's happening with everything that's going on, are you actually doing shows and everything like that? Are you actually getting out there and doing things?
Yeah, when I've been finding open mics for comedy, I've been going out and doing stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. I've found stuff where I can find it. I haven't done a ton of stuff, but in a way that's a little nice because I can ease my way into it. And then when things are fully opened again, I'll feel comfortable when I'm doing more shows more often. All
right. The reason why I ask is because I'm really good at procrastination. Like, I don't film my shows until like there will be some times at 2 in the morning where I'm finishing an episode and I'm uploading it like 20 minutes later. I have four interviews in a row. So you're first of 4, and you're going up this Saturday. So today is Thursday the 26th. Do you have any open mics planned or anything open within an area that you're maybe comfortable giving out to people if somebody in the local area hears about you and wants to go see in real life, or are you maybe not too comfortable with that?
I would be comfortable, but I don't have anything going on in the area right now. As I mentioned earlier, I lived in Orlando for a bit, and I might end up back there in the future, and that's if I do, I'm definitely going to do stand-up there. So if people in that area want to look out, I might be around there. Other than that, Eastern Pennsylvania, my band might do some stuff, but we don't have anything planned right now.
Okay. And it's Noise Noodle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, for right now, we're focusing on recording. We just started work. We released our first album this past February, on Valentine's Day, actually.
Nice.
I told myself, instead of just being sad on Valentine's Day, I wanted to give myself something to be happy about. So we released our album, because that gave me something to celebrate. And then we're working on another album now. We had like a 6-month hiatus after we dropped our album, but we're back to recording. We're gonna start uploading a lot more frequently now. So our YouTube channel is gonna be popping pretty soon.
All right. And I will go ahead and throw everything kind of in all the good stuff. I'll definitely link to you guys as well, too. And your little overlay, I know you can't see it because of recording now, but it's got Noise Noodles, I think. Maybe I spelled it wrong. Maybe I'll edit it and post, whatever. I'll figure it out. But I'll definitely link to it, send everybody your way, which is dope. So I want to thank you very much, DJ KRausz. So thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for the football talk. It's been nice to talk to somebody who's competent in football. My buddy who I did Marvel with, sorry, how unprofessional my phone. It's great because my buddy who's Super Marvel, which is awesome. I love talking to him, but I'm like, hey man, what about the Washington football team? He's like, Sportsball? I don't know anything about it. So I appreciate you coming on, talking to Sportsball with me. Thanks for diving into comedy. Is there anything you want to shout at? Anything else you want to pimp? Anything else you want to let the people know?
Nope. Just Noise Noodles on YouTube. Our goal is to hit 100 subscribers before January 1st. I set that goal on January 1st last year. And I think we were a little under 50 at the time, and now we're around 70 something. So definitely trying to hit that goal. Feel free to check us out. Like I said, we do music, sketches. We've done just weird. We did a video where we read our comment sections, which are pretty weird, especially after we had one of our songs played on the Pat MacAfee show, and then a bunch of his guys came and commented in our comment section, which was pretty fun.
Seriously, you made it to the Pat MacAfee show?
They played us twice.
That's dope. I love the Pat MacAfee show. That's hilarious, man. Oh my god.
But yeah, so feel free to go. Would love to have people subscribe so we can hit our sub goal by the end of the year.
For sure. I think you're going to be the third video cast I've been able to upload. I redid my whole YouTube channel not too long ago, and I thought, what better way to do the podcast than to do video casts? I don't know if you listen to PKA at all, those guys.
I have not.
No.
But...
yeah, it's 3 dudes, and they usually have a guest, and they have a nice little video format. And I thought video podcasts are pretty dope, so wanted to throw it up there. I think it's a little bit more engaging than sometimes just listening to who people talk. So again, DJ KRausz, I want to thank you very much. Just kind of hang tight here for a quick second after we're done, and to all you beautiful people out there listening, I love all your faces, and I'm going to be doing a lot of recording, so you'll hear a bunch of episodes in succession, and hopefully all of them will be good. All right, love your faces, everybody. See ya.